I'm Dave Bieneman from USA Performance Parts. We're here today to show you some of our extreme duty power adder parts, and we're going to take you through some of our turbocharged, supercharged nitrous components. This is our new extreme duty setup for the 632 Chevrolets for big nitrous and some of the supercharged stuff. We use a XD extreme duty rod that we have made by Molnar. It's got a thicker cross section in it and thicker H-beams by about 35%. So these things will handle upwards of 2,000 horsepower. We also, probably one of the biggest things is they always have a problem with 632s with the ringland being so high next to the top that when you spray it with nitrous, it wants to pull the top ringland off of it. What we've done is we've shortened the rod up. I don't know, it's going to be kind of hard to see on a video. It's only 65 thousandths, but you can see the difference in there. But 65 thousandths on this end makes a huge difference in the thickness of the ringlands, so it cures that problem. Now, we also use, instead of a 150 wall pin like most people have, we use a 200 wall pin in it. And on the real extreme stuff, we can go even thicker and go with a better material even. But that cures a lot of those problems. And these rods, instead of being $2,000, $2,500 set like some of the high-end rods, these are a couple $100 more than our regular H-beam rods. So it makes a huge difference to the customer there. We've also done that with a small block Chevy. This is our 434 setup the same way. The 434 has an even worse top ringland. Because of the short distance, we've stretched this down 150 thousandths, which makes a huge difference. And instead of a 6-inch rod, we use a 5/850 rod in it. Now there you can see a much bigger difference in the rod on that end. You can see it up here even. Again, what it does, it gives you much stronger ringlands in it for the nitrous problem. It also works on a 434 if you want to put a supercharger or a turbo on it. It's the same thing. We can make a piston for that. Again, these are our XD extreme duty rods with the thicker cross section. While we're talking about the thicker cross section, I've got some cross sections of rods. These are typical of some pretty high dollar H-beam rods. And the H-beams are pretty thin here and pretty thin here. Now, this is his Molnar standard rod. It improves that quite a bit. Now, this is the extreme duty rod. This is actually 35% thicker than his normal one, and almost twice as thick as the other one. Also, the fins are thicker here. They're a little shorter this way, but that improves because when you have a real long one with the high horsepower versions, they try to bend these fins, and as soon as they bend a little bit and bow, the rod's done. So that's why this will handle a lot of horsepower. You're looking at a small block rod that's 1,500 plus, big block rod that's 2,000. So it'll handle that kind of power. Now, this is one of our most popular Ford combinations. This is a 363 cubic inch that goes in an 8.2 deck 302 type engine. They have the same problem with a real short compression distance in it, and it just kills anything when you try to put nitrous in it. Most guys, you can't spray more than 150, 200. We've got guys with 500 and 600 horsepower with these extreme duty pistons that we had custom made by Carrillo. They have real thick crowns on them. The ringland's down. They have good thick skirts in them. Again, with the pins, normally they have a 150 wall pin. We put a 200 wall in it. Some of the extreme versions, we can put even a heavier wall than that. And to do that, again, we have to use a short rod. Normally, Fords have a 5/400 rod. This is a 5/335. It's 65 thousandths shorter. It's an XD extreme duty rod, also with a thicker cross section and thicker H fins on it. But again, it gets that ringland much thicker. And even we keep a real thick second ringland in it also. That's where all the top ring, all the compression pressure is pushing on that second ring. So some piston companies, they move the top ring way down and then shorten the second one up, and what it does, it protects the top, but then it bends the second ring and you lose ring seal. So this has been a real good compromise. CP-Carrillo came up with this, and it's working very, very well. We also use most of these have Total Seal 043 nitrided steel rings in them. They're AP steel, which is a real premium, very nice ring. Handles all that extra nitrous pressure. We also have ones for the 351 style. Now this is for a 427. Again, now on these they have the compression distance is okay. So what we did, we just made an XD extreme duty rod with the thicker cross section and the thicker fins. It's still a 6/200 length rod, but there's enough room on this. We did the same thing with the piston. Again, this has about a 320 thick crown on it. The rings pulled down. The second ring lands are over 200 thick, and we use an 043 Total Seal ring in that. That'll handle tons of power. We also use this in the turbocharged on both of the small block 302 style and the 351 Windsor style engines. This is our 4-inch stroke Chevrolet crank. This is one that goes with that 5850 rod. We have to cam cut the crankshaft counterweights. We don't put it in a lathe and turn it, because when you do that, you take so much weight off it, you can't put enough back in where you want it. We still put some Mallory in each end of it, but because we only cut off, we only cam cut it where it has to be cut on the rod, it doesn't take nearly as much off. But we have to do that to put a 5850 rod in it. Nobody makes one that way yet. We're working to have some made, but we're still a few months away from having that done. Again, this is for our extreme duty piston and rod deal, and it'll handle, this crank will handle a little over 1,000 horsepower. We also have a Lunati signature version of this that'll handle over 2,000 horsepower, and we do the same thing to it, have it cam cut. This is our 4750 stroke crank for the 632s. This is a Lunati crank. This is an American forging that we have made by them. We don't have to cam cut this. We have them. You can see where they cut more off of it as when they made the crank. We had it done when they manufactured it. It saves a lot of time and a lot of money. Now this is a 2,500 horsepower crank. You can spray it any amount you want. For the guys that want to run a supercharger on these, we put the double keyways in it so they can run the blower hub on it. And again, this crank is an American forging, so it'll handle about anything you can throw at it. And it's cut for that 635 rod also, and for that piston. This is a great one for the guys that want to spray 600 and 800 horsepower nitrous. It'll handle it easily. This is a World Products Merlin 3 block. We use this on a lot of our 582 kits and the 632s. One of the reasons we use this is even with their ductile iron cap, they do have ARP main bolts in it. The steel cap versions have ARP main studs. But one of the big advantages, it's already cut. The 9800 decks are already cut for a 4375 stroke, where other ones are only cut for a 4250, and the 102 decks for the 632 are already cut for that 4750 stroke. So you don't have to do that again, or have your engine builder do that. These are real hefty block. They've got thick cylinder walls in it. They'll go to a 4.625 bore. They've scalloped the block to put more water in them. They have more water than a stock block, even though the cylinder walls are almost double the thickness. This is a version that we get from World Products for Merlin 3 also. This has a 55 millimeter cam already bored in it. The lifters are already machined for 904 lifters, so it's a race block right out of the bag. It's ready to go. It has the inner head studs on it. Again, it's all scalloped on the bottom end for the long strokes. The 55 millimeter has become very, very popular anything with the 800 plus lifts, it really helps. This is the difference in the standard big block cam and the 55 millimeter. It shows how much better a cam core you have. The strength in the cam core itself helps. It keeps the cam from flexing, but the biggest thing is the aggressiveness of the lobe drops way down with the same lift, the same duration, using it in a 55 millimeter instead of a standard big block journal. The other thing is we get blocks from World Products with an extra 50 thousandths of deck, so we have a 9850 and a 10250 deck. What that does, it gives us, again, just like shortening the rod up. In fact, we use the shorter rod with some of the 50 plus decks. It gives you an even stronger piston yet, and that 50 thousandths doesn't hurt anything else. It keeps the intake manifold relationship exactly the same. All you have to do is use a 120 thick gasket instead of a 60 thousandths. If you have any questions about all these, the extreme duty pistons and rods, any of these blocks, the special deck height blocks, give me a call at 704-397-7979, or you can email us at sales@usaperform.com, or you can go on our website, usaperform.com.